The title "Do these 7 brain exercises now and watch your focus explode" sounds a little dramatic, and that's because it is. Your focus isn't a magical personality trait you're born with. It's more like a lazy house cat living inside your skull. If you don't give it something interesting to chase, it wanders off, knocks over a glass, and takes a nap. Your brain loves stimulation, novelty, and tiny challenges. When it doesn't get them, it drifts toward the easiest dopamine buffet available. Your phone, random thoughts about pizza, or suddenly remembering something embarrassing you did in 2014. But here's the weird part. Simple mental exercises can force your brain to snap back into attention mode. Not in weeks, not in months, sometimes in minutes. And the exercises that work best are often strange, slightly uncomfortable, and occasionally make you feel like you're rebooting your own operating system. Let's get right into it. Number 7. The 5-4-3-2-1 reset. Imagine trying to concentrate while your brain is running 37 background tabs. Point 1 tab is worrying about tomorrow. 1 is replaying an awkward conversation. Point 3 are thinking about snacks. This exercise basically slams the reset attention button. Here's how it works. Look around and silently name 5 things you can see. Point 4 things you can touch. Point 3 things you can hear. Point to things you can smell. Point 1 thing you can taste. Simple, right? Your brain suddenly has a new mission. Scan reality like a detective. And because attention is limited, the mental noise gets shoved aside. Psychologists call this grounding. Your brain stops time, traveling into regrets and imaginary futures, and is forced back into the present moment. And your focus loves the present moment, because distractions usually live in what if, or remember when. Meanwhile, your brain is busy noticing things, like the buzzing light, the texture of your desk, or the suspicious smell of your coffee. Within about 30 seconds, your mental chaos quiets down. Basically, this exercise turns your wandering mind into a human security camera, scanning the room, and once your brain starts paying attention to reality, again focusing on work suddenly feels a lot easier. Number 6. The backwards brain trick. Your brain is incredibly good at routines. So good, in fact, that it often runs them without you even being present. You ever drive somewhere and suddenly realize you don't remember the last 5 minutes? Congratulations, your brain went into autopilot mode. Autopilot is efficient, but it's terrible for focus. To break it, you give your brain something slightly annoying to solve, like counting backwards, but not normally. Try counting backwards from 100 by 7s. Point 100, 93, 86, 79, and suddenly your brain goes from sleepy hamster to full detective mode, because this task requires working memory, calculation, and attention at the same time. Your brain hates making mistakes, so it locks in. This is why people use similar exercises in cognitive therapy and mental training. It temporarily forces the brain's executive control system online, the part responsible for focus and decision-making. You can actually feel the shift. The fog clears, your attention sharpens, and suddenly, scrolling social media feels less appealing than finishing the task you started. It's basically the mental equivalent of splashing cold water on your brain, except instead of water it's math, which, depending on who you ask, might actually be worse. Number 5. The object-to-tail challenge. Your brain is extremely lazy when it comes to observation. It recognizes objects just enough to survive, and then stops trying. For example, you probably know what your phone looks like, but could you draw the exact placement of every button and camera lens right now? Probably not, because your brain stores shortcuts, not details. This exercise forces it to wake up. Pick any object near you, a mug, a pen, your keyboard, whatever. Now stare at it for 30 seconds and mentally list every tiny detail you can find. Scratches, shapes, shadows, textures, logos, tiny design choices you've never noticed. Your brain suddenly switches into high-resolution mode, the same attention system used by artists, detectives, and people who notice when a painting in a movie scene suddenly changes between shots. Psychologists call this deliberate observation. observation. It strengthens the neural circuits responsible for sustained attention. And here's the weird part. Once you activate this mode, your brain often stays there for a while, meaning when you go back to your work, your focus is sharper. It's like cleaning a foggy pair of glasses you didn't realize you were wearing. Suddenly everything looks clearer, and your brain quietly whispers, "Oh, we are paying attention now," which honestly is the whole point. Number 4. The 1-minute memory scan. Your brain forgets things constantly, not because it's broken, but because it's efficient. Imagine if your brain stored every single detail of every day, every conversation, every cloud shape, every time you walked into a room and forgot why. Your mind would become a giant, useless hard drive of nonsense. So it deletes most things, but this exercise temporarily turns off the delete button. Look around the room you're in for about 20 seconds. Don't move, just observe. Then close your eyes. Now try to recall everything you just saw. The position of objects, colors, shapes, maybe the number of books on a shelf, the angle of the lamp, the exact shade of your wall. Your brain suddenly realizes it has a job to do. It scrambles to reconstruct the room, like a crime scene investigator piecing together clues. This activates your visual working memory, the same system used when solving problems, reading complicated ideas, or following instructions. The moment that system wakes up, your focus improves, because focus isn't just trying harder. It's your brain actively holding information in place instead of letting it slide away. And once your brain starts playing detective, it doesn't immediately stop. So when you return to your work, your mind is still in investigation mode, which is surprisingly helpful when the suspect is your unfinished task. Number 3. The distraction countdown. Your brain has a terrible habit. The moment you try to focus, it remembers literally everything else you could be doing. Suddenly you need to check a notification, drink water, look up something random, or Google whether octopus is dream. Your brain isn't stupid. It just prefers easy dopamine over effort. So, here's the trick: instead of fighting distractions, you schedule them. The moment a distracting thought appears, don't chase it. Instead, mentally say, "Okay, I'll check that in 10 minutes. Then imagine a countdown timer starting. Your brain relaxes because the distraction isn't banned. It's simply delayed. Psychologists call this attention deferral. It works because the brain hates unfinished promises. Once a task is scheduled, your mind stops obsessing over it. The weird result: most of the time, by the time the countdown ends, you don't even care about the distraction anymore. The urge disappears. Your brain just wanted reassurance that the idea wasn't lost forever. It's like telling a toddler, "Yes, you can have the cookie later." Suddenly the screaming stops, and in this case the toddler is your attention span. Number 2. The slow motion challenge. Most people move through life on mental fast forward. Eat quickly, scroll quickly, think quickly, switch tasks every 15 seconds. Your brain adapts to this chaos by shortening its attention window. Focus becomes shallow. This exercise does the opposite. Pick a simple action: drinking water, opening a notebook, picking up your phone. Now perform that action in extreme slow motion. Yes, you will feel ridiculous. That's the point. Your brain suddenly becomes hyper-aware of every tiny movement, muscles shifting, fingers adjusting, objects changing position. This activates your motor attention network, the same system athletes use when performing precise movements. When this system turns on, distractions fade because your brain is concentrating on fine control. And here's the strange side effect. After doing this for even 1 minute, your mind often feels calmer and sharper. It's like switching your brain from chaotic city traffic to a quiet, controlled laboratory, because focus thrives in precision, not speed. Ironically, slowing down for a moment can make your brain work faster afterward, which is a nice bonus for something that looks like you're dramatically pouring a glass of water in a movie scene. Number 1. The thought labeling hack. Your brain produces thoughts the way a popcorn machine produces popcorn, constantly, loudly, and usually at the worst possible moment. You sit down to focus and suddenly, your mind starts throwing random nonsense at you. Did I reply to that message? What if I changed careers? I wonder how penguins propose. Your instinct is to either follow the thought or try to fight it. Both are terrible strategies. Following the thought sends you down a rabbit hole of distractions. Fighting the thought just makes it louder. So instead you do something weirdly simple. You label the thought when a distraction pops up. Mentally say something like planning, worrying, remembering, daydreaming. That's it. No analysis. Number arguing with the thought. Just label it. This tiny action activates the metacognition system in your brain, the part that watches your thoughts instead of getting dragged around by them. And the moment that happens, something interesting occurs. The thought loses power because instead of being inside the distraction, you're now observing it, like a scientist watching a weird brain experiment. Psychologists often use this technique in mindfulness training and cognitive therapy because it creates mental distance. Your brain goes from "oh no, I need to think about this immediately" to yes. The classic worrying thought, very original, and once the thought is labeled, it usually drifts away on its own, like a balloon you accidentally let go of. The result, your attention quietly returns to the thing you were doing. No, battle required. So, those are 7 strange little exercises that can snap your brain back into focus when it starts wandering like a confused tourist. None of them require apps, none of them require hours of meditation, and none of them involve screaming motivational quotes at yourself in the mirror. They simply force your brain to re-engage with reality, because focus isn't about willpower. It's about giving your brain something interesting enough to pay attention to. And once your attention system wakes up, it tends to stay awake until, of course, your phone vibrates and ruins everything. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.